concerned Somerville. Thanks for taking us up on. You know, putting up this fight, Worcester was the first school committee in the state to pass the dole on question 2. And I'm pretty proud of that. I can see no benefit whatsoever, especially as the city of Worcester and the other communities who are represented here, by putting more charter schools, 12 a year, to the Massachusetts education system. The Worcester alone is costing me right now $24 million. We have over 2,100 students who go to charter schools. I could do a lot for $24 million. We're going to have my IB school. We're going to have our full complement of teachers that are supposed to be in the classroom this year. What makes it even worse, we haven't even got the state to reimburse us what they promised us. We're at 36% this year reimbursement, and they're in the arrears over $3.5 million in the last several years. So $3.5 million, I'd have kids in the classrooms, probably under 20 kids in the classroom, if not less. We're averaging over 24, 25. So this has huge impacts. I'm against it. I've been against it from the beginning. I think the Worcester Public Schools are with us today. They do a lot. There's a lot of demands on us. Where the charter schools somehow play, but again, they have different rules than what we have. And they don't take the same kids, the same needs that we welcome graciously here in the city of Worcester. But I know we have a few speakers here. We have Jake Oliveira from Long Meadow, who's the head of the National Association of School Committees. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Mr. Mayor, and thank you to the city of Worcester. It's good to be in the heart of the Commonwealth here in the city of Worcester, and really, leadership Mayor Petty you've shown, and the leadership of Worcester School Committee has shown, and really leading the way for school committees across Massachusetts on really pushing out this No on 2 campaign. You know, I come from a suburban school district. Well, one of the benefits of this campaign is it's not just suburban school districts coming out against question 2. It's rural school districts. It's urban school districts. In fact, the majority of urban school districts, and nearly every urban school district in Massachusetts, their school committee or city council or mayor has come out against question 2. People standing behind me today are really the backbone and at the heart of democracy when it comes to education policy. School committee members are those people that hear concerns from constituents. They look at the budget, they represent their communities, and really, close to 200 school committees taking a stand on question 2 is really the backbone of this No on 2 campaign. We see the impact that charter schools have on our budgets each and every year. Right here in the city of Worcester, as Mayor Petty had mentioned, is draining tax dollars year after year of valuable resources that can go back into necessary programs for the public schools here in Worcester. I look at my own community, which has about 20 students out of our nearly 3,000 that attend charter schools. And the impact on our budget is tremendous just for classroom filled with students. It costs the taxpayers of Ludlow about $400,000 a year to send those 20 students to area charter schools. Sure, we get reimbursed maybe about $100,000 of that each year, but that still leaves a $300,000 gap for just 20 students. And those 20 students aren't just in one classroom, so it's not like you can reduce a class here or reduce a class there. They're spread out throughout the system, and our districts need to absorb it. That impact is really it goes against everything that we talk about in school districts. You look at the urban school districts that border Ludlow, places like Springfield and Holyoke. That $300,000 cost for Ludlow, tack on a few extra zeros of close to $30 million that gets drained away from our needed public schools here at the district level. When we look at how charter schools operate, this isn't a battle between charter schools and opponents of the model of charter schools. This is really against how charter schools operate now, how they are financed, how they are unaccountable. You look at the boards of trustees of charter schools here in Massachusetts. They don't represent the people that are standing behind me, the people of the communities that we represent. They're typically, in a lot of urban charter schools, coming from the suburban areas. Just 2 weeks ago, I actually debated someone from a charter school in Springfield, and I took an opportunity to look up where the people on her charter board live. She has a 15-member board of trustees. Only 2 hail from the city of Springfield, and not a single one is a parent. people that represent school committees behind me really have taken a stand, and they represent that local voice of school committee members, that local voice of the people that are affected by charter schools coming in and expansion. This is bad public policy, and it should not have been decided at the ballot box, and it's something that we as school committee members and as an association are really taking a stand against. It's my pleasure to welcome back the mayor to introduce a few of our other school committee members that will be saying a few words.
One of the reasons we chose this school for level 4, for level 1 school, so it shows that when you put the resources to a level school, we get the job done. So our next speaker is Paul Druckman from the town of Arlington.
Thank you. Right now we have a ballot campaign before us because a bunch of hedge fund guys sitting around in the luxury boxes down at Yankee Stadium decided to send several $1 million here to win a ballot question. The campaign is being run by the media group in the Swift vote ads. So there's no wonder why these ads are full of untruths. They tell you that we're not draining $450 million from public schools. But where's the money coming from? If we're not draining $450 million out of public school budgets, there must be a $450 million money theory out there running it. It's not happening. It's not real. They're telling us that suburban communities are not impacted, and suburban communities are. Because 12 new charters every year across the Commonwealth aren't just going to be in 9 urban communities, it's going to be all over the Commonwealth. And even if there's one in a cap community next to us, kids go across borders to charter schools. The funding formula isn't fair because the funding formula for public schools is not fair. It's inadequate. We have to spend in Arlington 5 times the foundation budget for out-of-district special ed. Charters don't have that cost. That's why charters are getting about $2,500 more per student than we have to educate the same kid at home. This is why if every child returned from charters to the low public schools, they'd have enough money to fund those kids to the current level, plus have another $4.7 million, which will give them an additional 63 teachers. This is bad public policy. Massachusetts schools are great because of their local governments. Town meetings, school committees have public discussions about community priorities. We decide what money out of our town budget will go to schools and how it will be spent. Charters come along, they take the money off the top. It's a garnish. It takes the local decision from the taxpayer and the school. This is bad public policy, and this is why you have 100 school committees from throughout the state coming out here today and saying, please vote no on TV. Thank you.
Nice job, Paul. He's absolutely right. It's bad public policy. You know, public education was born in Massachusetts. It's shameful that when these millionaires come in with outside money try to really change the landscape of Massachusetts. Our next speaker is Josh Amaro, school committee member from the town of Bedford.
Good afternoon, everyone. As the mayor said, I'm Josh Amaral. I'm the vice chair of the New Bedford School Committee. The school committee, I'm proud to say, we took a stance early on in the process as well, a resolution to keep the charter cap. And we'll be talking about it some more on Monday, specific to this ballot question. I'm also the vice chair of a collection of urban school committee members across the state, and I think I can speak for them when I say that urban school committees are probably going to be hit the hardest with this, but certainly not the only school committees that will be hit. As Jake outlined, suburban school committees and rural school districts and their students stand to suffer just as well if this ballot question goes through. I will tell you a cautionary tale and an example of what could happen in your city or town to your schools. So a few years ago, 2012, 2013, a charter school group had applied to come into New Bedford. Now we had settled on reforming our schools ourselves. We had some struggles in our schools, and we set forward a really ambitious agenda to fix them ourselves. And at the same time, this charter school came and applied. They had a public hearing, as they usually do in the community, and all of the community leaders from New Bedford came out. Our mayor, several school committee members, other involved community leaders, they all made an appearance at this meeting. They all spoke against this charter school. They cited the fiscal realities that it just wasn't tenable to have another charter school in our city. It was going to take away from our successful flagship high school. And in addition to that, the only people who came out to this meeting in favor of the charter school were bussed in by the charter group themselves, who had another school up in Boston. If you looked at the record of this school, they had 38 students graduate after 4 years, which wouldn't be a bad number if they didn't start with 100 4 years prior. So 100 to 38, that's not the success that we want to duplicate in our city. So we were loud and clear, keep this school away from us. That said, a few weeks later, charter school was approved anyway. They've struggled in our city to even find a location, and they've had a number of challenges over the years. It's a shame that things like that are going through, and it would be a shame to see more and more of those go through if this ballot question does pass. So we really need to be mindful of that. As several others have said here today, it's simply bad public policy. We need to make better policy decisions than that, better financial decisions than that. We need to keep the cap on our schools, and we need to reinvest in our public schools, which last time I checked, the state of Massachusetts wasn't doing so bad when it came to educating their students. So let's keep it going. Let's vote no on question 2, and let's make sure that we're getting really good information on this, because there's so much floating out there. People think that they're making good decisions when they're really not. So you have to be educated when you go in there. Someone said that this question really shouldn't be on the ballot because it's very nuanced, it's very complicated. But I think the voters can handle it, and I think the polls show that they've separated fact from fiction on this, and they're with us. No on 2. Thank you for your time. I'll turn it back over to the mayor. Go Patriots! Thank you.
Thank you, Josh. Good job. Our next speaker representing the Worcester School Committee is Molly McCullough. I just want to recognize Brian O'Connell and John Manfredo from the Worcester School Committee with us today also. Please welcome Molly McCullough, who organized today's event.
Oh, well, help. I can't take all the credit at all. I help. So thank you so much, Mayor. And I think it's a true testament with how many school committee members we have from across the state standing here behind me on a Sunday afternoon to come out and express how very important this issue is and how strongly we all feel about question number 2. As the mayor said earlier, in Worcester, we send $24.5 million annually to charter schools for the loss of students. It is estimated that even if all of the students were to return to the Worcester public schools, we'd still be able to add an additional approximate 150 more teachers that would be used to reduce class size or expand secondary offerings. The potential to lose additional funds from traditional public schools to charter schools, if this initiative were to pass, would have a significant impact on an already slim budget. In a time where we are trying to save art and academic programs, enhance technology offerings, improve infrastructure, and to add staff and advanced course offerings, as the mayor mentioned, our IB program that we'd all love to see get up and going, the last thing that we need is to lose additional funds to charter schools. While the vote on 2 is not a pro or anti-charter school stance, it is a vote that would lift the cap on charter schools and jeopardize the funding for traditional public schools. As a citizen and a member of the Worcester Public School Committee, I urge you all to vote no on 2, and thank you all for the opportunity to speak to this initiative.
Thank you, Molly. Good job. Well, thank you, everybody, for coming out. It's a long trip to Worcester. Quite well over. Right, that's all good things. So it's because we have over 200, almost 200 school committees. We're going to know, and we're going to get more. Tracy's promised me more coming to the school committees. But Worcester, $24.5 million represents more than 2,000 kids. You can do a lot with that money. You can do a lot with your money. So as Molly said, it's not anti-charter school. It's about protecting what we have here in the cities.